Who's ready for a bit of fun then?
Summer Game Fest had plenty of games to show,
MetaQuest 3 exclusive VR game coming later.
but I was waiting for news about only two in particular: Fallen Aces and Killing Floor 3. We got to see gameplay as promised. Aside from the obvious improvements in
graphics,
the pace seems to have slowed down from Killing Floor 2. They confirmed this in the PC Gamer interview. There are less Zeds now, and the pace of combat is a bit slower. This is most likely being balanced by adding more Zeds in world, as said here.
We've increased the amount of Zeds that are in the world at one time, so the battle feels way more epic.
None of this had me worried. After all, slower games can be tense and brutal as well. My initial skepticism comes from elsewhere, in the form of Payday 3's botched everything and Helldivers.
no! Sweet liberty!
But it's only skepticism. This isn't Payday 3 or Helldivers 2, right? It looks wonderful, the blood and the carnage, the gore system, until I saw this in the behind-the-scenes interview. I think my heart skipped a beat, but I needed confirmation. So, I went over to read the PC Gamer article to debunk my fears, and the biggest and most controversial change will likely be that specialists, named characters that replace the class system of the previous games, can only buy guns designed for their specialty rather than the earlier buy what you want philosophy of older games. While this might feel limiting to Killing Floor 2 veterans that are used to having a backpack full of things that go boom, there's a trade-off. These specialists each get their hands on a gadget, which most players will recognize as being akin to one of Overwatch's ultimate abilities. I've got gripes with this hero shooter approach. The most obvious one is that I really love the perk system of the previous games. If Killing Floor 3 released with perks instead of character specialists, I feel like it would have felt way more fresh. Not from the series' standpoint, but in the sea of modern games. If weapons are tied to characters, there will be no off-perk strategies like carrying a medic pistol despite not being a medic in Killing Floor 2. I also worry about some classic Killing Floor strategies being removed, like borrowing dead teammates as weapons or carrying them to the trader. I feel these are very Killing Floor things. The character specialists themselves raise questions too. Do we stack meta characters? Can we stack meta characters? Will they sell character skins to make players feel unique in a sea of Mr. Fosters? Will they sell characters? Do people even give a shit? It feels like Tripwire is lowering the skill ceiling with these Overwatch abilities, but at the same time limiting freedom by locking weapons to characters, so people don't run shotguns on commando, for example. Well, I hope that's not the case. They refer to these gadgets as a piece of equipment that can be unleashed to clear the screen. Perhaps it's an over-dramatization on their part. Personally, I would prefer the player's screen-clearing gadget to be their weapon, rather than relying on a clutch when things get dicey.
But that's just me, I guess.
I feel like there is an oversaturation of hero shooters. While I don't find anything wrong with them inherently, many of them aren't better than mediocre. Perks were what made Killing Floor, with the shift to loadouts that sound restrictive and character abilities. It feels like Killing Floor is losing its identity. It may be too early to say, and maybe I've grown too pessimistic about the games industry. Maybe this will be a fresh take on the series? What do you think? I'd love to read your thoughts on the matter. And if you don't mind VTuber bullshit, subscribe, and perhaps what